Hello guys, and welcome to the very first video on this channel. I'm so excited to see you all here, and I really hope that this video will help you to learn Finnish language. My name is Olesia, I live in Finland and I have been studying Finnish for the past 3 years, and I'm really happy to say that earlier this year I have passed my Finnish language exam for the intermediate level, and nowadays I can actually handle most of the social interactions and conversations in Finnish pretty easily. So on this channel I want to share my journey, maybe tell you some tips and tricks for learning Finnish language, and maybe help some of you to stay motivated with the language learning process. Because let's be honest, Finnish is quite a difficult language and sometimes it is pretty difficult to stay consistent and not give up learning it. But trust me, it is possible to learn it pretty quickly. I could do it, so you can do it too. In this video I will share 10 of my favorite tips and tricks to learn Finnish language and stay motivated. And by the way, I'm planning to post videos on this channel once a week, so remember to subscribe and check the next video next week. So my first tip is to stop using Google Translate for learning new words and phrases. I know it might sound a bit harsh, but you don't need to do this with all the new words and phrases. Just every now and then, instead of using Google Translate, try to rather Google for the word or check what it means in Finnish language. Or if you have visual memory like I do, it's much easier to remember a new word by looking at the image of the meaning rather than translating the word to your native language. You can also substitute it with the good old paper dictionary. This way your brain is putting a bit more effort and making a little bit longer journey in order to find the meaning of a new word. But trust me, this way you will remember the new word or phrase way better. The next tip is kind of flowing from the first one, is to download and start using the app called Tiny Cards, or any other similar app where you can put a new word on one side and its meaning or picture on the other. So every time you see a new word, you can just put it there and practice until you learn it. In Tiny Cards you can also set yourself notifications and reminders, so then you can stay more consistent with learning new words. The next tip to stay consistent and motivated is to learn Finnish with a friend. You probably already have someone in your circles who is just about to start learning Finnish or at the very beginning of their language learning journey. So why wouldn't you guys do it together? This way you will always have someone by your side to help you learn the language, check homeworks, or maybe they will even share some of their own tips and tricks for learning the language. And one way to find a language friend is obviously through a language course. I myself have done a lot of different courses in different schools and universities, and the best one that I have found so far is through this website called finishcourses.fi. There you can find so many different courses for your level and budget. There are courses online and offline in so many different cities around Finland, so you can definitely find one that suits you best. The course that I found there and loved the most actually was one of the biggest boosts for my Finnish level. It was an intense course for foreigners under 30 years old, and we had to go there every day, Monday to Friday, for 3 or 4 hours every single day. And at the beginning none of us could read or speak any Finnish, and after just a couple of months we all were more or less fluent and confident, having conversations with each other and having conversations outside of the class. And that was 3 years ago. If you already live in Finland, I would also highly recommend checking your local adult colleges and open universities. They have a lot of affordable classes and Finnish lessons, both online and offline. And also I think it's just a very cool way to get to know a new institution. For example, if you're planning in the future to apply to study bachelor's or master's in Finnish language through an open university, for example, you can already kind of check how it feels to study in a certain university. The next tip to learn Finnish or to find friends to learn Finnish with is to start going to language cafes, or in Finnish it's called kielikahvila. You can find a lot of those in your neighborhood or in your city through Facebook or just by googling kielikahvila and your location. They're usually free and the vibe is pretty informal, so I would say it's a really easy and chill way to learn a new language and also meet new people, and also enjoy a cup of coffee with a nice pastry, of course. The next, not so obvious tip is to start going to clubs. If you already live in Finland and would like to start practicing Finnish with native speakers but don't know how to approach them, then I would highly suggest you using this tip. It might be sometimes kind of difficult to start a conversation with the Finnish person during the day, but once you go to a club, it's getting way easier. Finnish people are so much more chatty and open in this kind of informal environment, so it's very easy to start a conversation there and get to know some new local people. This was actually also one of the biggest boosts for me for learning Finnish language. When I was in my early 20s, I started going to clubs a lot with my friends and classmates, and I would usually take it as a language learning opportunity because you get to meet so many new people in a very short amount of time. It's fun, and at the same time so many new people, and also this way you have kind of this common ground for starting a conversation because you are at this sort of music event, so you can always find some kind of topic where you can start a conversation from. The next tip kind of flows from this one again. If you're not the biggest fan of going to clubs or listening to electronic music, I would highly suggest you to write down all the things that interest you or all your hobbies, and then write them down one by one, and then from there figure out how you can do it in your local city. It could be, for example, going to live music events or doing some sports, doing some kind of artsy things, and then you can find a school or course somewhere where you can go to do your hobby regularly, and that way you will again find a lot of new people, a lot of local people, and you will also get to practice Finnish language on a regular basis. Lately there has been gaining popularity a new, branch of a Finnish language which is called selkosuomi. It basically translates as clear Finnish or slow Finnish, where all words and sentences are more simplified and are easier to understand, especially for foreigners. Originally it was created for people with disabilities, but recently it has been adapted for people who start learning Finnish from zero. So one way to stick with learning Finnish language is to find yourself some fun selkokirjat. Selkokirjat are these kind of books in Finnish language that have been translated and simplified to selkosuomi or slow Finnish. And you can nowadays find a lot of different ones online or from your local bookstore. So I would highly recommend to check that out. And last but not least trick to learn a Finnish language is to find some part-time job in Finnish language. Even if you already have a full-time studies, for example, or full-time job, you can try to still look for some kind of easier side job, for example, working at the local cafe or shop that you like, and apply there to work for just a couple of hours per week. And that way you will also get to meet a lot of local people. You will get to practice Finnish language on a daily basis, and your level of language will improve so good and so fast. This is also one of the tips that really helped me a lot. Few years back I started a part-time job as a barista, and even though the cafe where I worked didn't require speaking Finnish, we could only speak English, but I still decided to challenge myself, and every time I saw a new customer I tried to serve them in Finnish. Yes, I did some mistakes at the beginning, but after just a couple of days or weeks of practicing, it has really improved my level of Finnish. So, I think that was it for today. How did you guys like it? This was something new to me. I have been doing 2 other YouTube channels before, but never in this type of educational style. So, yeah. Let me know what you think, and I hope you found all these tips helpful. I will definitely talk more about different tricks and tips for learning a language and staying motivated in the future. And yeah, remember to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you again next week. Bye!